Welcome back, everybody. Happy Thursday. Once again, we've almost made it through the week. I hope you've had a great week. I hope you will also get on our page and check out the live video that Riel just did. She had some great thoughts. I hope everybody will pop on over and check that out real quick. Make sure to leave your questions or comments on there if you have any. Join the discussion. We love that. Today we are continuing our series on the fruit of the Spirit, and today's topic is going to be patience. So this is our fourth lesson. We are just about halfway there, and I know a lot of you guys are watching this back after the fact or not watching it live, so I just want to thank you all for taking the time out of your day either to watch it live with me or to take a few minutes and watch it back after the fact. As always, please feel free to post your questions or comments in the comment section, whether you're live or not, and I will do my best to check them, and we can definitely respond later if I miss it or if you post later. That's not a problem at all. So I love interacting with you guys, and even if there's just something that you'd like to add or something that I need to clarify more, please just let me know. So, to start off today's video, like I said, our topic is going to be patience. So this is not something that I have down to a science. I'm definitely not perfect. I'm talking to myself just as much as I'm talking to you guys with this series, and we're gonna just give it a go. And like I said, please feel free to comment anything that's on your mind, whether it's an addition, I think I misspoke, anything like that, I welcome it. So to start off, I want to define patience in the context that we are going to be talking about it today, because it's kind of different than probably what you're thinking of right now. So the patience from the fruit of the Spirit in Galatians chapter 5 verse 22 is defined as a slowness of avenging injuries, long-suffering, forbearance, which is restraint, or clemency, which is mercy for a committed crime. So the patience that we're talking about today is not just the patience that you need when you've been waiting in line for 25 minutes at Starbucks. This is the patience that you need to have when others have wronged you or hurt you, or you want to retaliate against someone or something. So, like I said, a little bit different context, but it's really important to me that we talk about this the way that it was meant to be talked about. So, we're going to start off in Ephesians chapter 4. Paul writes to the church in Ephesus about unity. So verses 1 through 3, he says, I therefore, a prisoner for the Lord, urge you to walk in a manner worthy of the calling to which you have been called, with all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love, eager to maintain the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. So the patience that is talked about here in Ephesians is the same patience that's found in Galatians in the fruit of the Spirit. It's the same definition, it's meant in the same context. So according to Paul in these verses, we Christians have been called to employ this patience and use it in our lives. In order to walk as we have been called as Christians, kind of like Riel talks about in her life, go check it out. We have to restrain ourselves, be slow to action, and to not take vengeance in our own hands. And along with patience in these verses, we are to walk in humility and gentleness and peace and love. And this is all to maintain the unity that we are supposed to have in Christ. And as Christians, we are all connected by the Spirit. We are one body, but we really often don't act like it. I'm in college right now, but my youth group days aren't far behind me. I remember the fights and the disagreements and the drama that happened within the youth group and between youth groups at times. And I also remember seeing disagreements and drama between adults in the congregation, which, by the way, if you're an adult watching this video, that definitely does not set a good example for the youth about how Christians are to treat each other. So that's just something to keep in mind. But we as Christians are supposed to be unified and treating each other with kindness and with respect and with peace. And this patience in the fruit of the Spirit is supposed to teach us the importance of turning the other cheek and being forgiving and to not create conflict or condemning other people when it's not our place. Patience is a fruit of the Spirit because it's supposed to allow us to be part of the unity of the Spirit that's mentioned here in Ephesians. It's necessary for Christians to live in harmony with each other and with those in the world. So I also want to look at Romans chapter 12, verse 12. And this is a passage that I've referenced before in earlier videos in this series, and it's in the section of my Bible with the heading Marks of a True Christian. And the verse that I want to point out today is verse 12. It is short and sweet, to the point, and it reads, "Rejoice in hope, be patient in tribulation, and be constant in prayer." So, as Christians, we are bound to face challenges. We will be ridiculed, we will be made fun of, and in general, bad things are going to happen in our lives, just like with anybody else. But consider Jesus when he was on trial in Matthew chapter 27. He was accused of crimes that he didn't commit. He was spit on, he was mocked, he was beat, he was scourged and stripped naked, and he was wronged throughout this whole trial. The whole process of the trial and the crucifixion was just wrong, but he never retaliated. He never refuted the false charges or defended himself or made any effort to stop the situation. He knew that God had a plan and that God was in control. He was patient during the ultimate tribulation that none of us can even imagine. It's unimaginable to us what he went through, but he was patient throughout it because he knew that God would allow good to come from his situation. And I am a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, even if we don't know what the reason is. We might not see it now, we might not ever see it. Maybe God's using us to make a difference in someone else's life, but there's a reason. And the trials and tribulations that we face in life are ultimately not ours to handle. Back in Romans 12, verses 19 and 21, a little bit farther down, they say, "Beloved, never avenge yourselves, but leave it to the wrath of God. For it is written, 'Vengeance is mine, I will repay,' says the Lord. To the contrary, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink. For by so doing, you will heap burning coals on his head. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." We as Christians are supposed to have patience that gives us restraint and mercy in times when we have been wronged. We don't need to get even or teach people a lesson. We need to understand that we are put in these situations where we have opportunities to be different and to show this godly patience. And with that being said, I understand that's way easier said than done. Our human nature wants us to stand up and fight back and win, and like I said, teach people a lesson. They need to know better. But I want to read Galatians 5, verses 16 and 17. And I kind of skimmed through these verses, it looks confusing to me, so I'm going to read it a little bit slower just to make sure that I don't lose anybody, because I would get lost myself. So please comment if you get confused, or if I need to reread it, or if I need to clarify something, I'll be happy to. But Galatians chapter 5, verses 16 and 17 read, "But I say, walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. For the desires of the flesh are against the Spirit, and the desires of the Spirit are against the flesh. For these are opposed to each other to keep you from doing the things you want to do." So, as I said earlier, when we get wronged, our human nature does not want to be patient and merciful. We don't want to turn the other cheek. We want to get back and get even and teach lessons and react as the world would. But patience is a part of the fruit of the Spirit, meaning that it is necessary to truly be walking in the Spirit. And what Galatians chapter 5, verses 16 and 17 is saying here is that our fleshly desires, which in this case would be wanting to get even or get back at others, is directly opposed to the desires of the Spirit, which is merciful patience. And this direct opposition between these is what keeps our worldly desires in check. It gives us the strength to resist and to turn to the Spirit for guidance, because that's ultimately what we should do in all situations. And if you're wondering how this can be applied in your life, there is a statement that I've heard a few times from Wayne Roberts, and it always stands out to me. And it says that we count the things that mean the most to us. This has been used in many contexts, and I think it applies here as well. Do you count what others do wrong? Do you count what they do right? Do you dwell on the good or the bad in others? Does it affect you more when someone does something good for you or bad against you? Because realistically, negative things are going to get to us in life. We're human. but we have to be patient and let God run his course. Even Jesus in the garden prayed for the cup to pass over him. He didn't want to stand trial. He didn't want to suffer this crucifixion, but he was patient and he let God's plan play out. And in the same way, we face trials in our lives with patience, knowing that God has a plan even if we don't see it. So lastly, I want to look at 1 Thessalonians 5, verses 14 and 15. And it says, "We urge you, brothers, admonish the idle, encourage the faint-hearted, help the weak, be patient with them all. See that no one repays anyone evil for evil, but always seek to do good to one another and to everyone." This verse pretty much sums it all up. Be patient with them all. When somebody does evil against you, be patient with them. When someone is living in sin, be patient with them. When someone is doubting or weak in the faith, be patient with them. Never turn your back on other people, because God never turns his back on us. So when you face trials or tough times or difficult situations, simply take a step back, be patient, remember that God has a plan, and let him run his course. So that's all I have today on patience for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got something out of it. And once again, please feel free to leave any questions or comments that you have, and we will get back to you with those. You can even message us if you want to. If you haven't already, as a side note, turn on your notifications for Beyond the Phone. Just go to our page, click on the 3 little dots that you'll see, click on follow settings, and there you can make sure you get notified when we go live, we have new posts, we update something. You can also set us as a favorite as well, so you never miss any of our posts or videos on your newsfeed. So also go check out Riel's live video that she did just about 30 minutes ago. And Lord willing, I will see you all back here in 2 weeks, and we'll talk about kindness. I hope you'll have a great weekend and a happy 4th of July. Bye.